So today we will be doing a review of distance formula and midpoint formula problems. So I want you to be familiar with the language that is used in the two different types of problems, so that way you don't get confused. Okay? So if a question ever asks you to find the point that bisects a line, to find the middle, to find the point that is halfway, divide the point that divides a line into equal parts, so on and so forth. Okay, so this word bisects, a lot of people have trouble with it. So I just want you to remember that the prefix bi is used in bicycle, bilingual, and then bisect. Okay, so bisect is when you cut something in two. Bicycle is two wheels. Bilingual is when you speak two languages. So bi. Okay. Okay, so when you have something that bisects a line, it cuts a line in half. Distance, if they use a word like length, distance, measure, if they use those words in the question, then they want you to use the distance formula. All right, so that was just a quick little vocab lesson, but don't get tricked on the MCAS. Learn the language. Learn the language that the MCAS is going to speak, okay? So I'm just going to go over some practice problems from today in class. So one of them was find the measure of the line segment going from -3, -5 to 2, -1. -1. All right. So this question is asking us to find the measure. So we know that we have to use the distance formula. So let's label our points. We have x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's write out the distance formula. You always want to write the formula first. I feel like this is a step that we've been skipping a lot, and it's really important that we always write the formula. It organizes our mind. We always want to organize our mind. Okay? Here's the distance formula. I'm just going to plug these values into the formula. So I'm going to have distance equals the square root of 2 plus 3 squared plus -1 plus 5 squared. And I'm going to be left with distance equals the square root of 25 plus 16. Distance equals the square root of 41. Distance equals 6.4 units. All right, so that was one practice problem. I went through it really quickly because you should be this comfortable with distance formula at this point. You should be able to go through a distance formula problem super fast. Lightning speed. All right. The next question that we're going to do is bisect. Sorry, that looks like an F. Okay, bisect the segment from -2, -3 to -5, 4. Okay? So in the question, we have the word bisect. We know what bisect means. It means to cut in half. So we're going to use the midpoint formula. So I'm going to label my points, x endpoint, y endpoint, okay? And remember, we do two formulas, one for the x coordinate, one for the y coordinate. We get x midpoint equals x endpoint plus x endpoint all over 2. And we have y midpoint, y endpoint plus y endpoint all over 2. And I'm going to get negative 2 plus negative 5 all over 2 equals negative 7 over 2 equals negative 3.5. Then over here, I have y endpoint. I have negative 3 plus 4 over 2 equals 1 over 2 equals 0.5. So I have ym equals 0.5. So remember, the answer to a midpoint formula question is always going to be written in coordinate form. So this xm right here is the x value. And then this y right here is going to be the y value. So that is our answer to the midpoint formula question. Now, the other question that we went over today was an old PARCC exam question. So the PARCC is the online exam that some students take, and then it's like the other exam that you would take at the same time as the MCAS later on in the year. It's just a standardized test that's done on a computer, just so you know. That's all you need to know about it. But here was the question. So line segment JK has endpoints negative 4, 11, and 8, negative 1. So what are two possible, oh my gosh, this question is like an essay. Okay, locations for point M. So M divides JK into parts in a ratio of 1 to 3. Okay, so now that I have my essay long question, what information do I know? Well, I know this is giving me a bunch of points. I'm going to have to find midpoint. So I'm going to just make a little graph here so we can get going, okay? This is me organizing my thoughts. I am organizing my thoughts. Okay. All right, so now I have my coordinate plane. I'm going to plot the points that the question gives me. So I'm going to make a line segment that is JK, and it has endpoints negative 4, 11, and 8, negative 1. So I'm going to make a line that has those endpoints. All right, so I have negative 4 over 11 up. Well, this scale isn't going to work, that's for sure. Ugh, okay. We're going to do a scale of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, there's our new scale. Great. So I have negative 4 over, so 1, 2, and then 11 up. So I'm right about here. So I'm going to have negative 4, 11. And then I have 8 over 1 down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 down right here. 8 over negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to connect my lines. This is line J. I always want to label my lines, my points, and this is point K. So what are two possible locations for point M? So M divides JK into parts in a ratio of 1 to 3. Okay. Well, the first thing we want to think about is this here ratio of 1 to 3. So if something is in a 1 to 3 ratio, it must have 4 parts total, right? Because let's say, think about a Twizzler, the like red licorice candy, right? So I bought the Twizzlers. So me and my friend, we have come to the agreement that for every part he gets, I get 3 parts because I paid for the Twizzlers. So if I get 3 parts for every 1 part that he gets, oh wait. So if I get 3 parts for every 1 part that he gets, I'm going to get this many, right? And he's going to get 1. So this means that if something is in a 1-to-3 ratio, there needs to be 4 parts total, right? Okay. So I need to split this line right over here into 4 equal parts. So how do you split something into 4 equal parts? You can cut it in half and then cut it in half again, right? Well, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to find this midpoint M, and then I'm going to find the midpoint of that line and the midpoint of that line, and then I'll be able to find the points that divide this line segment into 4 equal parts. Okay? So the first order of business is for me to write out my formula, right? So I'm going to write out my formula. X midpoint equals X endpoint plus X endpoint all over 2. Y midpoint equals Y endpoint plus Y endpoint all over 2. Okay, so let's see. I am going to find X endpoint equals 8 plus -4 all over 2 gives me 4 over 2 gives me I'm going to put this below because they don't have much room. Okay, equals 4 over 2 equals 2. So X midpoint equals 2. And then Y midpoint equals -1 plus 11 over 2. I get 10 over 2. Y midpoint equals 5. So the midpoint of that whole line right here, M equals 2, 5. All right? So now I just need to find the midpoint of from M to K, and then from M to J, and then I have these 2 lines right here, and then I will know which points divide JK into 4 equal parts. All right, so I'm going to erase this part because we need to find the midpoint of MK, and then we need to find the midpoint of MJ. So first, let's find the midpoint of, well, first, let's write our equation. First things first. Okay. Okay, so first things first, we have, let's find the midpoint of MK. We'll find the midpoint of the line between points M and K. Let's see, we're going to have 8 plus 2 over 2 equals 10 over 2, xm equals 5, and then I have ym equals 5 plus -11 over 2, 4 over 2 equals 2, I have ym equals 2. So the midpoint of mk is going to be 5, 2, which we just found over here. And now we just need to find that other midpoint of MJ. All right? So I write out my formula, of course, we always do. All right, and we have -4 plus 2 over 2, -2 over 2 equals -1, so xm equals -1, and we have ym equals 11 plus 5 over 2, we get 16 over 2, ym equals 8. All right, so we have -1 8 as our second midpoint, okay? So the question itself gives us the following choices for possible points that would divide the line JK into 4 equal parts. And they are A, which is -2, 9, B, -1, 8, C, 0, 7, D, 1, 6, E, 3, 4, 3, 4, F, 4, 3, G, 5, 2, and H, 6, 1. Okay, so these are the two coordinates that we found that could satisfy the conditions above. Are either of these answer choices? Let's see. -1, 8. Oh, right here. All right, B. And then 5, 2, G. All right, so our answers are B and G. All right, that was a really tricky question. I hope you understand.